in July of 2021. So for the exciting part, let's now proceed to animal welfare. Animal welfare is a complex and multifaceted subject with scientific, ethical, economic, cultural, social, religious, and political dimensions. So it is a very complex na concept na topic. So this is from the World Organization for Animal Health, formerly OIE, yung equivalent ng World Organization for Animal Health. So if you see, it is a concept, it is a subject na even the World Organization for Animal Health is promoting. So this is yung 5 basic freedoms, if you've heard of the concept of the freedoms. So this is the freedom from hunger, malnutrition, and thirst, freedom from fear and distress, freedom from heat, stress, or physical discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, and disease, freedom to express normal patterns of behavior. So itong 5 basic freedoms na to, ito yung guiding principles ng concept ng animal welfare. So dyan lang umiikot yung mga principles ng animal welfare. So ang definition ni OIE sa animal welfare is the physical and mental state of an animal in relation to the condition in which it lives and dies. So, doon tayo galing sa global concept, baba tayo doon sa atin dito sa Pilipinas. So, the Animal Welfare Act or RA 8485 as amended by RA 10631, its revised implementing rules and regulations, defines animal welfare as the physical and psychological well-being of animals. It includes, but is not limited to, the avoidance of abuse, maltreatment, cruelty, and exploitation of animals by humans by maintaining appropriate standards of accommodations, feeding, and general care, the prevention and treatment of disease, and the assurance of freedom from fear, distress, harassment, and unnecessary discomfort and pain, and allowing animals to express normal behavior. So, of course, the purpose of the law is to protect and promote the welfare of all animals in the Philippines. So, paano ba natin pasisimplehin si animal welfare? Ano ba yung purpose ni animal welfare? And bakit kailangan yung malaman si animal welfare this early? So, review. As I've mentioned the 5 basic freedoms earlier, we are updating that now. Kasi that's prone na ma-exploit ng mga rightists, animal rightists. So we transition to the 5 basic needs. The need for a suitable diet, the need for a suitable environment, the need to be protected from pain and suffering, the need to be housed with or apart from others, and the need to exhibit normal behaviors. So instead of the 5 basic freedoms, we transition to the 5 basic needs kasi mas madali siyang intindihin. So yan lang yung kailangang ma-provide ng mga owners, caretakers ng hayop to have a happy and healthy na animal. So bakit gusto natin ng happy and healthy animal? Kasi pag happy and healthy yung animal, specifically for food animal, ma-achieve natin good production. Kasi pag healthy, happy, kakain sila ng maayos. And if they eat well, maaabot natin yung target for production. And ang end point nun, high economic benefits. Kasi mabebenta sila ng according dun sa kanilang value. So less also expenses for needed na medication kasi may sakit. So nababawasan yon if we practice good animal welfare. High economic benefits. Yan ang ating goal with animal welfare. So bigger picture tayo ulit. Animal welfare dun sa concept and dun sa practice ng ating profession. So palaging ang misconception with animal welfare, it only pertains to comfort. Where in fact, as I've mentioned earlier, so even the World Organization for Animal Health, sinasabi na si animal welfare, critical ang relationship with animal health. So pagsasamahin natin yan, health and comfort, ang endpoint na ma-achieve natin is food safety. Why? So pag ang food animal natin, baboy, manok, baka, maayos yung health, ibig sabihin, they're also fit for human consumption. Okay silang makain. Food safety. Also, food security. Kasi if continuously healthy ang ating animal population, yung food animal, wala tayong disease outbreaks, masisigurado natin na ang supply ng pagkain continues. So tatandaan natin, component ng animal welfare ang health. Pag walang sakit, security of food. And for companion animal aspect, yung mga hayop na may direct interaction with us humans, dogs, cats, so yung mga alaga nating exotic animals, if they are free from diseases, if they are in good health, if we practice good animal welfare, of course, ang impact nun, tayo na nag-aalaga. So remember, may mga sakit na nakukuha from animals na naipapasa sa tao. And if we practice good animal welfare, nalilesen natin yung mga incidences nun. Kasi we practice vaccination, we practice good biosecurity. So in turn, healthy animals, safe ang public, safe tayo as owners. So napakalaking roles natin as veterinary professionals, you as veterinary professionals, na ma-ensure na good animal welfare na pa-practice sa mga professions na pupuntahan ninyo in the future. Kasi ang endpoint ng food safety, food security, public health, and public safety, may ensure natin if we practice good animal welfare. Ang endpoint, One Health. Because human health is also dependent with animal health. So yan ang concept ng yan ang endpoint, yan ang goal natin ngayon. So yan ang target natin as veterinary professionals. Yan ang goal natin, One Health. So tatandaan natin ang animal welfare, yan ay a good balance between yung two extremes. So ayaw natin yung nasa left, abuse, cruelty, negligence. Ayaw din natin yung nasa right kasi those are animal rights, animal liberation. They believe na hindi dapat kinakain ang hayop. Dapat sila ipinapakawalan, hindi dapat sila inaalagaan. So ayaw din natin nun kasi ang pwedeng mangyari dyan, magkakaproblema tayo with food security. Baka ang endpoint na wala na tayong ibang pwedeng kainin. Kaya doon tayo sa good balance. And sabi ko nga, nasa sa atin yung pagsisiguro na yung balance ng dalawang concept na yan, yung gitna, animal welfare, mapapractice natin. So, also, bear in mind, ang animal welfare does not equate to animal rights. Magkaiba yan. So, do not interchange. They are not interchangeable. Magkaibang concept ang animal welfare and animal rights. Animal welfare, nandun tayo sa good balance. So this is a cliche quote, but I want to leave you all with this. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. I hold that the more helpless a creature, the more entitled it is to the protection by man from the cruelty of humankind. Okay? So now, I will leave you all with this quote naman that I hope you will take as you enter your journey to the veterinary curriculum. So dream big, stay positive, work hard, and enjoy the journey. I hope I see all of you in the future in conferences. Don't forget to say hi. So with that, magandang umaga at maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Doc Sheng, for sharing your knowledge and insights to our students. So let's all give Doc Sheng 1,000 heart or thumbs up. Yan. So Doc Sheng will have you again later in the open forum. Again, to those who will not be able to join us in this platform, so we will be sending a link to YouTube channel so that you can watch the presentations. Okay, so moving on to our next talk this morning, it will be delivered by one of the foremost experts in laboratory animal and research. Let's welcome Dr. Luida C. Cruz, independent consultant and IACUC veterinarian of St. Luke's Hospital.
Good morning, everyone. I am Luida Cruz, a lab animal veterinarian. I would like to thank the Philippine Veterinary Medical Association, especially Dr. Florisa Viloria, for making me part of this virtual campus tour. I am here to talk about opportunities in laboratory animal medicine. Well, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Sometimes win, sometimes you learn. I'd like to think that failure or losing is part of learning and of being better. I am currently working at the Research and Biotechnology Division of St. Luke's Medical Center in Quezon City. I'm working there as an attending veterinarian and as a veterinary consultant. As an attending veterinarian, I direct housing, feeding, and medical care of experimental animals. I train and supervise animal care technicians, ensure proper conduct of approved experiments, and ensure animal welfare. I provide researcher support, and these are mostly resident doctors. I ensure compliance with national laws and regulations regarding the use of laboratory animals. I serve as a voting member of the IACUC. As the member of the IACUC, I evaluate protocols of scientific procedures using animals while ensuring animal welfare. I participate in IACUC full board meetings, inspect the laboratory animal facility, and investigate any received concerns or issues involving non-compliance in the care and use of animals in the institution. I am a product of the public school system, from a periculture center near our home up to my master's studies in veterinary pathology. I was with government schools. I am a wife to a veterinarian who is a companion animal practitioner. We have a daughter who loves animals, especially cats and dogs. My first job was at the Regional Cooperatives Development Program at the Ministry of Agriculture in Diliman, Quezon City. I worked there as a veterinary consultant. I taught basic swine raising to cooperative members. However, my mother wanted me to stay in Manila, and she started looking for work for me in the capital. She saw the ad for a veterinarian at Unilab. When they interviewed me at Unilab, they asked if I knew anything about laboratory animals. I said laboratory animal medicine was not taken up extensively in school, but I was willing to learn. The only time I used lab animals in school was during the mouse inoculation test for rabies testing. That was all. I read up a lot about laboratory animals before the interview. I stayed on at Unilab for more than 30 years. I stayed up there for more than 30 years testing candidate medicines and vaccines as to their efficacy and toxicity on humans and animals. I have no hard data on the population of laboratory animals in the country. However, the Bureau of Animal Industry says that there are 35 registered laboratory animal facilities as of May this year. Our IPM has more than 5,000 mice. ITBI has about 500 mice and rats and 15 rabbits. St. Luke's just imported new stocks. They have 350 rodents, 25 rabbits, and swine that are bought at an all-in, all-out basis. Unilab has about 1,600 mice, 1,200 rats, and rabbits and guinea pigs are also bought on an all-in, all-out basis. There is a single non-human primate facility, Del Mundo, in Mindoro, and it houses around 2,000 non-human primates. As to the estimated number of practitioners in lab animal medicine, according to the PVMA convention this year, 26 out of more than 1,700 delegates said they are into lab animal medicine. At PCLAM, which is the Philippine College of Laboratory Animal Membership, there are 27 of us. PALAS, which is the Philippine Association for Laboratory Animal Science, has approximately 10 veterinarians. So what are related relevant government regulations and laws in our field? There is the revised implementing rules and regulations of RA 8485, otherwise known as the Animal Welfare Act of 1998, and it was amended by RA 1063-1. This act aims to protect and promote the welfare of all animals by regulating the establishment and operation of all facilities with animals either as objects of trade or as household pets. Provisions include prohibiting live animal disinfection by grade school students, deputizing personnel from the AFP Veterinary Corps, other enforcement agencies, and the creation of animal welfare enforcement officers to help in the implementation of this act. There's also A04T, which was changed to an administrative circular and was released this year. It institutes the basic systems and practices of all laboratory animal facilities to safeguard the welfare of animals used in experiments. It grants authorization to conduct scientific procedures using animals if the entity has an animal care and use program and an institutional animal care and use committee. Lastly, there's the Administrative Circular number 4, Series 2015. In here, it says that the veterinarian of the annual facility has to have a valid PRC ID, a valid professional tax receipt, and an S2 license from the PIDEA. What are the challenges and difficulties in our field? Number one is the limited source of quality laboratory animals. This has pushed some researchers to buy from pet stores, which may not be able to provide certification as to the strain or stock of the animal and a health certificate. Totally, I advise you to buy at RIPM, ITDI, and in the future at the FDA. But please order your animals at least 2 months before you need them. Of course, you can buy laboratory animals from abroad, but that would be very expensive. There are no formal postgraduate courses available locally as of now. There's limited on-stock sources of needed supplies because most of these are imported, and you have to wait for 2 to 3 months for them to arrive. The lab animal practitioner has expansive duties. In addition to providing medical care, we are asked to give inputs on the renovation and design of research animal facilities. We serve as a liaison between the research institution and regulatory groups, and we provide occasionally education on animal research through classroom presentations and lectures. Opportunities for a lab animal practitioner. There is now a proposed PhD program in veterinary medicine, which includes biomedical courses involving laboratory animals at the UP Los Baños College of Veterinary Medicine. This proposal is being evaluated and hopefully will be approved. There is now an undergraduate subject on laboratory animal management and medicine at CLSU. CLSU will be offering laboratory animal management and medicine next semester. You could attend PCLAM and PALAS activities. You could also attend web-based lectures or e-learnings. Just Google Charles River, the Jackson Laboratory, Johns Hopkins University Center for Alternatives to Animal Testing, the NCPR's Canadian Council on Animal Care, and more. Of course, you could attend seminars and conferences in lab animal medicine abroad. Study if you have the opportunity to go abroad. I did preclinical tests for a well-known pain reliever when I was in Unilab. I don't think I could mention the brand, but it was used as my masteral thesis. It is a combination of an NSAID and an analgesic, which eventually became a blockbuster product. It is being endorsed by a Philippine senator and a world-class boxer. I used it as my thesis. I hope you now get what brand I'm talking about. I was blessed to be awarded this awards before. I'd like for us to share the knowledge, exchange information, skills, or expertise, especially among our kababayans, especially among students like you, and with new graduates. This exchange nurtures a learning culture, boosts the efficiency and competence. But then, of course, not all researchers and knowledge can be shared. Some are proprietary, so be selective on what you share. Do research with integrity. Why? Because integrity creates trust, and trust is at the heart of the research process. Researchers must be able to trust each other's work, and they must also be trusted by society since they provide scientific expertise that may impact people's lives. I would urge you to seek continuing education to keep abreast of new developments. If you don't, mananose-gid kayo. So what are my words of encouragement to you, future veterinarians? Laboratory animal veterinarians serve as a bridge between the humane use of laboratory animals and the advancement of scientific and medical knowledge. And that for me is a great job. You could now, I am open to questions later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cruz, for gracing this year's PVMA campus tour with that very interesting talk. I'm sure our students have lots of questions regarding your talk. They have to wait for a bit more, though, as we will be having you back in the open forum. For questions, comments, or reactions regarding our talks, you may send it through the Q&A tab below the main screen. You may also use the chat box to interact with our speakers. Our fourth talk this morning will be given to us by a very familiar face for us veterinarians. Discussing public health and government service, it is my pleasure to bring you the officer in charge of the Bureau of Animal Industry under the Department of Agriculture, Dr. Rildrin G. Morales.
A pleasant morning to everyone. I'm Rildrin Gonzalez Morales, and my personal life quote is taken from the book of Joshua, in verse 9, wherein the Lord said, "This is my command, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And these words are the very words that I take with me wherever I go. Currently, I am the Assistant Secretary Designate for Livestock of the Department of Agriculture, and that is in concurrent capacity as Officer in Charge, Office of the Director of the Bureau of Animal Industry. And with that, I am the designated Chief Veterinary Officer, and that comes with being the delegate of the country for the World Organization for Animal Health, or what is formerly known as OIE, or the Office International de Episodi. I finished my degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine from the University of Los Baños in 1997. And in 2006, I had my Program for Development Managers certificate program from the Asian Institute of Management. And in 2014, I earned my Master of Veterinary Public Health Management from the University of Sydney, New South Wales. I am a native of Gabaldon, Nueva Ecija, eldest of the two siblings born to Reynaldo Morales, who is now deceased, and Celerina Morales. Both parents are public school teachers. I'm married to Sheila Rose Flores Morales, with whom I have 4 children, namely Renarda Frame, who is 18 years old, Joaquin Nathaniel, who is 16 years old, Elisha Gale, who is 14, and my youngest son, Jairus Rael, who is 9. I am a Christian by faith. Before being brought to the Bureau of Animal Industry, I served for almost a year as the Executive Director of the National Meat Inspection Service. But prior to that, I am the National Program Coordinator for the Philippine component of the global efforts to combat antimicrobial resistance using One Health approach. This is a global project funded by the UK Department of Health under the Fleming Fund, which is being implemented by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the Philippines. And again, prior to that, I work with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific under the Emergency Center for Transboundary Animal Diseases, or ECTAD, with a project on emerging and re-emerging high-impact transboundary animal diseases. So I stayed there for 4 years, after which I had short term assignments with the FAO on other equally important transboundary animal diseases like foot and mouth disease. And of course, before joining the FAO at the Regional Office for Asia Pacific, I handled the successful eradication of foot and mouth disease, the last phase of its eradication in the country from June 2004 to February 2011. So I was invited to join FAO RAP, ECTAD, because of my experience with the successful eradication of foot and mouth disease in the country. And before being the national coordinator or the deputy head of the FMD task force, I was also the officer in charge of the Animal Health Division, and I've been involved with the control of the infamous incident of a bell reston in pigs in Bulacan and also in Pangasinan. Next slide, please. So I've had other portfolios, equally important portfolios with the Bureau of Animal Industry, and one of which is the development of the Philippine Animal Health Information System, coming from the Foot and Mouth Disease Information Management System, which we developed as a mirror of what is now known as the World Animal Health Information System, also OIE. So virtually, our information system on animal health status of the country was a copycat image of what OIE have. So that's one of the projects that we have accomplished when we were in the Bureau of Animal Industry previously. And of course, I also work with various projects by FAO and the Bureau of Animal Industry, such as the Southeast Asia Environmental Animal Health Initiative in the Philippines, which includes Cambodia, Laos PDR, and later on Vietnam and also Myanmar. So these are some of the things that I'm very proud of. The things that actually, I recognize the efforts that you have given to the things where you dedicate your professional career to. So in 2010, I was awarded the Outstanding Alumnus in Government Service from the University of the Philippines at Los Baños. And just fairly recently, in October 2021, I was awarded the Outstanding UPLB Alumni Award, also of the University of the Philippines in Los Baños. So maraming salamat po, UP, for that, for those recognitions. Maraming salamat, and I hope that this short presentation will be able to more or less encourage our viewers, particularly students, to pursue a career in government service. Dedication and hard work will always pay off, whether you are in public service, in government, or in the private sector. What is important is that we walk tall as veterinarians. Mabuhay ang veterinaryong Pilipino.
Thank you very much, Dr. Railrin, for that insightful presentation. So we'll see you again later to answer our students' questions during the open forum. So it's been quite a series of talks, so why don't we take a short break? Short break tayo. Ayan, mas maraming heart. So ibig sabihin, kailangan ng short break. So please rest your eyes a bit. Stretch out your bodies and maybe have a cup of coffee. But make sure to please return to your screen in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so welcome back. So while we were having break, we already have raffled some PVMA tote bags to be given away. So since back to school tayo, PVMA will be generous enough to give you a lot of tote bags, back to school bags. So and we are the winners. So we have Kyla Patrice Paglikawan, Gabriel Erin Argana, G. Maldrin Gutierrez, Angelica Makainan, and Miss Maribel Dolong. Okay, so stay tuned and we will be giving away more. So congratulations. So please stick with us until the end because our colleagues are monitoring backstage. And those who will be listening attentively will be given a lot of bags. Okay, so our next topic will be on poultry practice to be delivered by no other than the Doc Aga of the Veterinary Profession, Dr. Agapito F. Mercado, Vice President of Livestock Poultry Operations of Poster Foods. Welcome to the campus tour, Doc Aga.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Aga F. Mercado. I'm representing the poultry practitioners. I was actually volunteered by our president, Dr. Esmeraldo San Pedro. Well, please call me Aga or Doc Aga. I'm better known with that name to my colleagues, my friends, to my coworkers. So actually it came from Agamulak. My real name is Agapito, but when Agamulak became popular with this movie, Miguelito, my schoolmates way back in college, they did not stop calling me Aga until now. Aga na yung pangalan ko. And another luck came in nung mapalabas yung Okay Doc, although I was Doc Aga then, lalo pang nagamit yung Doc Aga sa pagtawag sa akin. Well, in my first job in RFM Corporation as a veterinarian in poultry, I learned a lot. It's like giving me a masteral degree because in this farm, although this is for illustration purposes only, it's so big that biosecurity was an issue. It became a biosecurity nightmare. So I came across a lot of diseases, especially this infectious coryza, which was causing heavy mortalities then. But with this exposure, I was able to learn how to deal with the disease, design a good vaccination program so it can be prevented and not rely on treatment mode. And not only infectious coryza, because of maybe of the challenges that where biosecurity was being compromised, and because of the size, because it's a 500,000 population broiler breeder farm. I was able to experience all of these diseases. Yes, I have mentioned infectious coryza, Mycoplasma gallisepticum, Mycoplasma synoviae, staphylococcal infections, egg drop syndrome, even Newcastle disease, IB or infectious bronchitis, and reoviral infections. But even if it was a costly experience to have those diseases, as we say, name it, we have it. But one thing that I value a lot in having filled that in that farm, having assigned there, was getting along with people, dealing with people. I was able to learn how to go along with them, manage them, work with them, and appreciate what they were doing. So alam namin kung ano yung pinanggagalingan nila. We know how they feel. So we were able to manage them very well. And until now, that practice, dala-dala ko yan, even sa present na trabaho ko na. So as a poultry veterinarian, I realized that I was not managing the birds anymore, but it's the people to get things done. And during my stint in that, in my first employer, as a management trainee, I was able to climb up the ladder as manager for the animal health services. I was actually, before that, I was actually assigned in the Visayas and Mindanao to put up its broiler breeder operations there. While others would consider other types of practice, like they would like to go in the government, diagnostic laboratories, in the corporate world. Ako na, I was one among the veterinarians who chose to be assigned in the farms. In my case, it's in poultry. Ito, the more popular ones will be the companion animal practice, especially nowadays, na sila yung talagang pinupuntahan ng mga fresh graduates. But as we can see in this chart, poultry is ranked third in terms of interest by the graduates or by the veterinarians. So I remember during my clinician days, sabi ng isang instructor ko, don't go into poultry because there's not much to learn. May pera, there's money in there, pero you will not learn a lot in poultry. But it proved me wrong. It proved him wrong, and even my impression then, because my interest actually is in swine, because maybe of that influence. But luckily, I'm here in the poultry practice, and I discovered that it's not that simple. Coccidiosis, for example, for a typical disease, you would like to know only one etiology or the causative agent. Pero for coccidiosis, ang dami nilang mga magkamag-anak na Emeria. Nandiyan si Acerbolina, Maxima, si Latinella. Ang dami palang dapat malaman. And even in programming, designing a vaccination program, it's not that easy. You need to make combinations, like you need to use first a mild strain, and then the second dose will be a stronger strain for you to come up with a better protection for the birds. IB, for example, ganun din ito. Tagal na yung coronavirus in poultry. It's causing infectious bronchitis. Pero you have to dig deeper and find out what specific strain could be causing the disease in your flock. So hindi siya ganun kasimple. At yung mix and match na ginagawa sa COVID vaccines, ginagawa na namin yan dati pa sa coronavirus sa IB. And in other species, they would talk of gestation period. It's that simple. Yeah, you count 114 days, for example, in swine. Pero in poultry, you need to know the specific stages of the embryo development. So you can apply that in your troubleshooting skills. So ang dami pala talagang dapat malaman. Avian influenza, there are so many combinations of the hemagglutinins and the neuraminidase. Kaya meron tayong H5N1, H5N6, H7N9. You don't only memorize about orthomyxovirus. You really have to go into the details. Salmonella, ang dami ring strains, ganun din siya. Not only Polorum and Gallinarum, but also other strains that could be causing that are of public importance, nagkakos ng mga food poisoning. So, ang dami talagang dapat malaman. So, hindi pala ganun kasimple ang poultry. So, I had a paradigm shift. Poultry, even up to this point na 33 years na ako sa practice, and I still have to learn a lot. Now, during my stint with RFM Corporation, I was assigned in Bukidnon to put up the broiler breeder operations there. And I came to the point na I wanted to stay there, migrate there, because I wanted also to put up my own breeder farm. But that was my dream, but something happened. I came across with the owner of Foster Foods. So he was very convincing in our first meeting. And he was able to. I decided to transfer, jump ship. So he became my second employer, and until now, I'm still working for him. And I was doing almost the same job with the Foster Foods. Kung ano yung ginagawa ko doon sa RFM noon. But only one thing is different this time. I'm now the vice president for the live poultry operations of the company, and I could see that it's very rewarding. That I considered transferring to another company. So with Foster Foods, this is how we do it. We cater to different markets like the live sales, the hotels and restaurants, the groceries and supermarkets, the rotisseries, and the fast food chains like McDonald's, Jollibee, Mang Inasal, and many more. Now, as a poultry practitioner, as I've said, na hindi naman ganun siya kadali, nag-iiba-iba rin kami ng preference. Some will go into the animal health companies, feeding companies. The others chose to be independent. Others have been promoted as CEOs. Yung iba, they have their own farms, or others practice as farm veterinarians, others in the government. So you don't only consider one company or one type of practice, even if we consider it as a specialization already. So one thing that I like in poultry, unlike in companion animals, you need a lot of diagnostic equipment. In poultry, it's so easy. Ito, ginawa namin to during our recent campus tour or outreach program in Kabsu in Cavite. So you only have to do euthanasia, sacrifice some birds. We call them heroes because by doing that, you tend to find out what's wrong with the bird. And then you can apply the treatment for the whole flock. So those sacrificed birds, actually, they are the key in finding the solution on how to deal with the remainder of the flock and save them from any threat of any disease. So hindi lang yung maraming matututunan, but there are so many opportunities also if you consider poultry practice. You can see the world for free. I've been into many countries because of so many trainings being offered to us. So time will come that you can also enjoy those opportunities, and you get to meet many people of diverse culture and personalities, not only during those trainings, but also in your day-to-day dealing with your business partners, like in putting up their farms, discussing about the technical issues of the operations and everything. And you get the chance of being recognized also. In my case, I'm lucky to have been awarded as outstanding farm veterinarian and also as outstanding poultry practitioner by BPAP. And ang dami talagang opportunities if you consider poultry practice. And well, maybe you can be confused which one you to choose, but sabi nga ni William Jennings, destiny is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. So we are shaping our own destiny. We only need to have the correct mindset for us to come up with the right decision for ourselves. Some of the tips that I can give you as future veterinarians, number one is you have to have a clear vision of what you would like to do. And with that, you need to plan ahead. Sabi nga, you need to know what you would like to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, ano bang gusto mo maging. So if you don't have any plan, you are doomed to fail. And many more. In everything that you do, it's always best to give your best. Give your best in all things that you do. And you have to be determined and have the proper mindset. Sa aming mga naging managers na, supervisors, they have always instilled to us the value of having that sense of ownership. Sabi nga nila, we only not think like owners, we act like owners. Consider your company as your own. Nandun yung malasakit. And you have to be patient. Many opportunities will come along the way. You only have to be patient and be disciplined. And as a veterinarian, ito napaka-importante, we need to be very punctual. And last, we have to keep our words. Yung palabra de honor. So you can maintain your integrity, you can be credible to others, especially to your clients. So you just have to keep going, pursue your dreams, aim high, and never give up. And of course, all of this will amount to nothing if you're not healthy. So you have to keep healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. Kailangan natin yan. Walang value lahat yan kung magkakasakit lang din tayo. And of course, you have in choosing which path to follow, use your mind and follow your heart. Kailangan mag-combine tong dalawa na to intellectually and emotionally. And of course, we have to have our faith in God. Sabi nga nila, nasa Diyos ang awa, nasa tao ang gawa. And this is my last slide, second to the last slide. Hindi ko lang makot kung saan to nanggaling, but anyway, parang anonymous to. Sabi nila, when work is a pleasure, life is joy. When work is a burden, life is slavery. So whatever you choose, importante dyan, kailangan maging masaya ka. Kailangan happy tayo sa ginagawa natin. And there's contentment para hindi natin ma-experience tong slavery na to. It should be pure joy. And eto na nga pala ako, by the way, I'm married to Rowena Tika Mercado. She's also a veterinarian and we have 3 children. The first is, our eldest is Ina. He is a materials engineer now in Australia. The second is Angelo. He's a medtech graduate and pursuing also his ambition to become a medical doctor. And the youngest, Bea, she's an aspiring teacher. That's all. Thank you for your time. So maybe I wasn't able to cover everything, but I can answer your questions in the Q&A portion. Good morning. Salamat po.
All right, 1,000 heart for Dr. Aga, ang Doc Aga ng Philippine Veterinary Medical Association. Okay, thank you very much, Doc Aga, for that very stirring topic. So please note, students, that in poultry practice, it's not enough that you are technically equipped. Sabi nga ni Doc Aga, you have to make things done with people. So dapat may people management skills din kayo. So Doc Aga, I'm sure maraming tanong later. So for the students, so if you have questions, just put your questions dun sa send it through our Q&A tab below or the main screen, and you may also use the chat box to chat directly to our speakers. So, okay, so moving forward, our next speaker will be coming from military service. So during our time, hindi masyadong na-discuss sa amin to. So it is my honor to introduce to you the retired Chief of Veterinary Corps of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Dr. Marjorie A. Filoteo. Thank you, Doc Marjorie, for being with us today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, students. I am Colonel Marjorie A. Filoteo, a retired member of the Armed Forces of the Philippines Veterinary Corps. And I was requested this morning to share with you my life and journey as such, hoping that some of you will consider giving it a try and perhaps pursue a military career while practicing the profession. Ang sabi nga ng iba, kung naririnig natin ang phrase na an officer and a gentleman, dito sa loob ng AFP, pag military vets na ang pinag-uusapan, ang tawag naman ay an officer and a veterinarian. I have prepared some slides to guide us through the presentation, and as we go along, I will be injecting snippets of my personal experiences in order to give you a clearer view of what the military veterinarian life is. As I've said, I am a retired member of the AFP Veterinary Corps, and the last position which I held was its chief, the highest position for such. And as its chief, I am practically the mother of all the Veterinary Corps officers and in charge with their career management and their morale and welfare. I held the position for 3.5 years, and it is the culminating position of my 32 years in the service. My 32 years fruitful service started when I graduated from the University of the Philippines College of Veterinary Medicine, which was in Diliman still at that time in 1986. Took and passed the board during that year also, and was commissioned and called to active duty as a young lieutenant. Then the journey begins. I was assigned with the Philippine Navy Veterinary Medical Service and was given a position as the preventive medical officer. I can say that my decision to enter the service is highly influenced by the fact that I came from a military family. My father was a senior naval officer. My brothers are attending the military academy, and some of my relatives are all members of the armed forces. Thus, the decision. As you enter the life of a military veterinarian, there will be two main areas of practice that you will be doing. These are the animal health and the public health areas. For the animal health, this will involve consultation and treatment, as well as the management of animals, primarily the military working dogs of the AFP K9 units, the animals involved in the livelihood programs of the AFP, as well as the pets of the military personnel and their families. The AFP has several AFP K9 units, all distributed in the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Each of these K9 units has its own veterinary officer to cater to the health and needs of our military working dogs. As popularly known, our military working dogs are of great help in accomplishing the mission of our combat troops. They are well-versed in explosive detection, sentinel duties, as well as combat tracking and enemy tracking. The other main area of practice for the military veterinarians is the public health practice. This is brought about by the adaptation of the One Health concept of the Armed Forces Philippines in maintaining the health of its soldiers. as animals are an integral part of this One Health approach for the health of our soldiers, naturally, the veterinarians come in to play a vital role. Veterinarians will be involved in activities geared towards the food and water safety, environmental and sanitation, vector-borne and zoonotic disease control, activities such as sanitary inspection, food inspection, misting operations are just examples of such. Throughout the career of the military vets, engaging in these two main fields of practice will still involve the performance of additional duties, such as the following. There are 3 types of duties for the military vets. These are the advisory duties, which involve serving as advisor to the commanding officer or whoever who may be requesting for advice on veterinary matters. Next is the professional duties. This is the practice of the clinical skills of the veterinarian in management of animals, whether they are stationed in the hospitals or in the field doing extension work. And third are the administrative duties, which involve the duties practiced by veterinarians when they become staff officers and commanding officers of veterinary service units spread all over the country. During the entire career of the veterinarians, there are entry requirements which one has to satisfy if you want to be accepted in the Corps. The requirements are as follows. You have to be a graduate of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. You have to be a licensed veterinarian by passing the board exam. You have to be physically and mentally fit. You must pass the AFP test battery, which is a written examination. It's a series of examinations to test your IQ and your adaptability to the rigors of the service. You have to pass the interview of the procurement board, which is composed of the different of the services assigned to screen and test and assess the qualifications of all the applicants. And the age must be between 21 and 26 years old. Hindi po pwede ang masyadong bata at masyadong matanda. And after acceptance to the Corps, veterinary officers are being assigned to the field, spread all over the Philippines and rotated in a period of 3 to 5 years among the major services, which is the Navy, the Air Force, and the Army. Throughout the career of a military veterinarian, there will be lots of opportunities that will be offered to them. These opportunities range from having an initial rank of first lieutenant, and then you will be promoted as the years go on, and the highest of which is a colonel for the veterinary corps. There will be training and schooling, both local and foreign, that will be offered to veterinary corps officers. Part of these are career courses, which you need to finish in order to satisfy the promotional requirements and positioning requirements for military veterinarians. There will be also special courses that will be offered to hone your skills in performing your duties as such. And then there will be field assignments, which means that you will be assigned in the different hospitals and dispensaries and clinics of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. These are veterinary units spread all over the country and distributed among the different major services. Your clinical practice will be honed as you are assigned in the hospitals. Your medical and surgical skills will be tested because hindi po nawawala ng pasyente ang veterinary corps officer, ranging from the primary patients, which are the military working dogs. Nandyan din po yung mga hayop na inaalagaan ng mga units natin for livelihood programs. And ang mas nakararami pang pasyente ay ang mga pets ng military personnel and their families. So talaga pong praktisado ang isang military veterinarian when it comes to clinical skills. And next, there are joint and combined exercises where the military vet can participate as members of the veterinary teams that participate in activities, community relations, missions, veterinary civic actions with the other veterinary teams of the other major services, as well as the veterinary teams of the other foreign armed forces that conducts this exercise with the Philippines, like the US, if you have heard of the exercise Balikatan, and Australia, and some of the ASEAN nations, our neighbors. Next, leadership and management skills enhancement. This is very important because as an officer, a veterinary officer will lead people, will set an example to its subordinates, will have to operate a unit, and many more. Kaya po, there are training and skills enhancement that are being offered sa mga veterinary officers so that they can become a better officer ready to perform as a staff officer or as a commanding officer of a certain veterinary unit. Just like in any other organization, the Veterinary Corps has its share of challenges, and this they confront head-on in order to survive. Some of these challenges are, first, the risk as a military personnel. Siyempre po, tinuruan, as an officer, tinuruan ang military veterinarian humawak ng barel. So, kasama nito sa paghawak ng barel ay ang kanyang pagiging, ang posibleng assignment niya sa malayo, far-flung areas. And most of the time, doon pa siya ilalagay sa mga combat areas and war zones. Although hindi naman siya nandun sa front line, but nandito siya sa rear to offer combat service support activities. Next, yung field duties. Pag ang isang vet po ay naka-assign sa malayo, syempre po, malayo sa pamilya, mamimiss ang pamilya, at there will be times na very important occasions will be missed, like birthdays, anniversaries, and the like, Christmas, New Year. So, kailangan tiisin din po yon. Next, gender issues. The AFP is a male-dominated organization, so it is expected that gender issues will be cropping here and there. But I'm glad to say that the leadership is properly addressing these gender issues, just like in any other organization of work. Next, if you decide to become a military veterinarian, it is expected that you will be living in a regimented and a highly disciplined environment. This is because there is hierarchy, merong senior officers, may subordinates, and you have to be on call 24 hours and 7 days a week. That's why you have to be always on the go, on your toes, at hindi pwedeng tumanggi pag ipinatawag kahit po weekend o mga bakasyon. Next, you have to remain physically fit for duty. Ito ang napakalaking stress sa buhay ng ilang officers, kasama na po ako. Because regularly you have to pass the physical fitness test composed of 3 events, running, push-ups, and the sit-ups. Nako, kailangan pong maipasa ninyo ito dahil kung hindi kayo mapopromote, hindi kayo mapoposition, at pwede kayong matanggal sa serbisyo. As I've mentioned, the Veterinary Corps is a minority in the technical service of the armed forces of the Philippines. So, in order to survive, ang aming pong mga military veterinarians ay natutong maging aggressive at maging makulit para lang po hindi makalimutan every time there will be activities regarding the health service. Kailangan po maging insistent sila na ito, kailangan nyo kami at kailangan kami mag-participate because we are an important component of the Armed Forces Health Service. So hearing all of that, I still hope that some of you may still want to pursue a military career dahil po ang veterinary corps ay kailangan ng mga additional na veterinary corps officers. Help the veterinary corps realize its vision in the future that the AFP should have in all its camps a veterinary officer assigned to it para po maging ideal ang ating setup at mai-provide natin ng maayos ang quality veterinary care sa ating armed forces. Maraming salamat po. Inaasahan ko na nagustuhan ninyo ang ating presentation at para tulungan kayo na ma-appreciate lalo ang buhay ng military vet, we will be showing you a 2-minute promotional video produced by the PVMA at ipapakita po doon lahat ng trabaho na ginagawa ng military veterinarians for your appreciation. Thank you and hope to see you in the question and answer portion of this tour. Maraming salamat po ulit and good morning.
Sa loob ng mga serbisyong teknikal at medikal ng Armed Forces of the Philippines o AFP, napapabilang ang maliit pero nakamamanghang grupo ng mga veterinaryo. Sila ang Veterinary Corps. Taliwas sa pagkakaalam ng karamihan, bukod sa paggabay sa pag-aalaga sa ating military working dogs o K9 units, mas marami pa ang kaya nilang gawin. Ang ilan sa kanilang mga misyon, siguruhin ang kaligtasan ng ating kasundaluhan, food safety and sanitary inspection, mistings and pest control operations, hygiene, overall check-up, at experimental and comparative biomedical research. Bilang mga eksperto, tungkulin din ng Vet Corps na magsilbing tagapayong teknikal sa pamunuan ng sandatahan. Sa mga usaping may kinalaman sa medisina, veterinary public health services and mission, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear o CBRN activities, at ilan pang veterinary civic action programs. Sa mga gawaing ito, kinakailangan ng masusing pag-aaral at patuloy na paglinang ng kanilang kakayahan. Kaya naman, bilang isang veterinary officer ng Vet Corps, madalas silang sumasalang sa mga workshops at seminars sa loob o sa labas man ng bansa. Hindi lang dyan nagtatapos ang kanilang mga gawain. At dahil miyembro rin sila ng sandatahang lakas, patuloy silang sumasalang sa mga lecture programs at military trainings. Hindi madali ang proseso. Pero hanggat magkakatuwang, lahat gagawin para sa sinumpaang tungkulin sa Diyos at sa bayan. Sila ang Armed Forces of the Philippines Veterinary Corps.
Thank you for a very interesting topic, Dr. Filoteo. Thank you for selflessly sharing your time with us. We'll see you again later in the open forum. For questions, comments, or reactions regarding our talks, you may send it through the Q&A tab below the main screen. You may also use the chat box to interact with our speakers. We have another reputable speaker who will talk to us about his topic, swine practice. Here is Dr. Angel Antonio C. Manabat, President of the Philippine College of Swine Practitioners.
Okay, thank you PVMA for inviting me to talk today about swine practice. So, umpisa ko na, who am I? So, my name is Dr. Angel Manabat. So, I received my DVM degree from UP Diliman. So, magulit kay UP Diliman, matagal na walang vet doon. So, we actually belong to the last class of graduates from there. So, most likely, I graduated before any of the students listening now was born. So, that's how far back pag sinabi UP Diliman. But still proud UP Diliman. So at present, Technical Services Manager ako of Genus PIC, working with the PIC Philippines Incorporated dito sa Manila, no? Working in the Philippines. And my work focuses on customer support, people development, training, farm audits, and you know, trying to help out the industry. No? And I'm also presently the president of the Philippine College of Swine Practitioners. Okay, so ano natin? How did I start my career in swine industry? No, first I did not want to start in the swine industry. Ang gusto ko talaga no, magkaroon ako ng clinic sa Makati. You know? But you know, sometimes things happen that you know, yung mga plans mo, there are opportunities that come that might look different from what you've originally thought about. So siguro ang advice ko lang sa inyo, you have to make sure that you have to be flexible with your plans. No? Maganda may goals, but you have to be very flexible, no? And consider opportunities thrown your way. So if you look at my journey so far, sabi nga, in 1988, I graduated from UP. No, ang unang trabaho ko noon actually sa Institute of Animal Science. No? I looked for a job there while waiting for the board exams, no, the results to come out. So after that, I was given an opportunity to work in the International Training Center on Pig Husbandry as a training specialist. No? They were actually hiring during the time I was in UPE sa Los Baños. So I took the opportunity because I really want to teach people. And after a few months there, no, they asked me to go for training sa Netherlands, sa Barneveld College, to handle pig husbandry. Then when I came back after 2 years working with the government, I transferred to Monterrey, which then was one of the biggest the biggest fully integrated swine operations. So these are a company that has farms, you know, has meat shops, you know, retail. So I was able to practice my vet degree there, you know, by being the senior epidemiologist and heading the animal health services. But I was also given the opportunity to manage operations, you know, like the growing operations and the breeding operations. So I've worked in Monterrey for 10 years. After that, I shifted naman. I joined a pharmaceutical company, you know, from 2000 to 2007. I was a technical and marketing manager in the Philippines. You know, although I had regional posting in China, you know, I was assigned in China for a few months, you know, half a year, as marketing and technical and key accounts manager for Novartis Shanghai. Then I wanted to go back sa farm, no, being aside from reselling medicines and vaccines. So I went to PIC. From 2000 to 2012, I was a technical services manager for PIC Philippines. 2012, bumalik din naman ako sa China. No, I was assigned there and I was a technical and services health assurance manager for PIC China. In 2017, I went back to the Philippines. Okay. I was given the Outstanding Farm Veterinarian Award by the PVMA in 1999. Thank you po, PVMA. And in 2012, I was awarded the Outstanding Veterinarian Swine Practice. Pinasama lang po nila to, no? But I think we have a lot of very good veterinarians. So just a matter siguro na ma-showbiz ako kaya ako nakikita nila. I'm sure that there will be a lot. So ang question is, why did I decide to focus on working in the swine industry? Now, when I was working with ITCPH, no, ang isa nakita ko actually is there's really a important need for us to focus on food security. No, kasi if you're going to look at in the future by 2015, ang expectation natin there will be about 10 billion people in the world. And we have to find out how to feed the world, no, during that time. And if you're going to look at the production of meat, no, ang pig is actually a close second to poultry in the meat production by 2020. This is from FAO. And we have to make sure that even in the Philippines, we have to be producing. In the Philippines, mas marami ang kumakain ng pork than chicken. No? Although, siguro, depende rin sa supply. Right now, nawala ng supply. But Pinoys love pork. No? Sabi nga, most preferred ang baboy, ang pork. In our diets, no? Actually, 48% daw ng total daily animal meat consumption natin pork. And the Filipinos eat about 15 to 60 kilograms of pork per year. And I'm sure you've seen fiestas, no? Siguro kung walang lechon, walang sisig, walang longganisa, walang adobo, I don't think you'll look at it as a Filipino feast. No? So I think pork would still be wanted here. So sabi nga, for a typical Pinoy, what is life without pork? For that one. The Philippine swine industry pre-pandemic, pre-ASF, no, I call it also the pandemic. It's actually the second largest among the animal industries, and only the second, the largest, the largest among the animal industries, only second to rice, in terms of contribution to our GDP's agriculture, about 191 billion. And on the right, if you look at this chart, this was presented in 2019 in the ATVS. No? Pinakita lang natin dito, based on doon sa PVMA attendance, marami namang vets na involved sa industry. No? Nung nakita namin noong PVMA noong 2019, about 25% of the veterinarians who attended actually is linked with or working with swine practice. But we do not have enough. No? And this was actually highlighted when we had the problem in ASF, no, ang dami namin kailangan katulong sana na vets in the provinces, in the munisipyo. Kulang na kulang po ang swine veterinarians. A lot of the big companies are also looking for swine veterinarians, and they're having a hard time. Kaya nga sabi, walang makita sa small animal practice, walang makita sa poultry, wala rin makita sa swine. So we need a lot of veterinarians everywhere, no, and especially for my sake. I've seen it that we have a big need for swine vet. Okay. Also, another thing that I wanted to do to keep bakit ako sa swine practice is actually I've seen how much the swine farmers need support. No? So, hindi nyo maalis yung makita nyo yung satisfaction on helping out the small swine farmers. Globally, kalat na kalat po tayo, no? All the veterinarians in different fields. But for swine veterinarians, you see a lot of them in Australia, Canada, United States, and other countries. Sabi ko, China, no? We are sought after. No? You've seen in some universities. No? I went to CLSU one time. No? I was doing a lecture there. Makita mo, meron ng post doon ng Canadian companies looking for swine veterinarians. Or actually, Filipino veterinarians to work in swine farms. So we are very sought after. So kung di man kayo dito sa Pilipinas mag-practice, which I hope you do, there are a lot of opportunities for swine farmers. Okay. So question, yung bang pinag-aaralan natin, what you're studying there in the university, can you really use it, no, in practice, no? So question, ang answer dyan is yes. No? I actually look at, I group what we've learned in the university into two. No? One is swine medicine, where ito na yung kasama na yung physiology, patho, pharma, parasitology. These are all very important, and you would need to know at least, no, because unti-unti binabatak mo yung mga knowledge coming from those lectures and teaching from the university. Yung din farm management, I know you took up nutrition, animal breeding, animal production, economics. Yan din, kinukuha din natin yan. Nagagamit din natin sa field. One thing that you might want to consider, no, to look at or to study is actually to improve people's skills or get some opportunity to develop your people skills or communication skills by joining organizations, joining projects, or working with other teams. No? Because this is going to be very important for you to become a successful swine veterinarian. Aside from that, sabi nga, relying only on what you learned in university, kasi nandiyan na kayo, take advantage of the opportunities there. No? But if you can find ways to, while you're there, to have actual hands-on experiences, no, I think you should go for it, because not all situations may bibigay niya just by reading textbooks. No? That's why PIC, no, where I work with, no, we actually opened our farms to interns from the Institute of Animal Science. Sa VetMed, if there's applicants, then we can discuss. No? But we've started opening even during the pandemic, no, last month. We took in some animal science students and have them work in the farms. And I encourage those who are interested, no, to try and work. Para malaman nyo rin kung gusto nyo magtrabaho sa farms. No? Because every time you go and experience, there's always something new, information that could help you and change your perspectives or mold your perspective in the practice you want to go in. Yung people skills, this is the hardest one, or the most hardest one, but the most important one to master, no? Even more than technical skills. No? Kahit nga, sabi ko, even if you're the best veterinarian, if you cannot sell your ideas or your directions to the people, to the owner, to the ones who want to implement it, then you will not be successful. No? So you have to know how to communicate with people, how to make them buy what you're selling. And what we're selling is advice on how they can manage their farm or how can they treat their pigs. No? And one thing is knowing the dynamics in the farm, how to talk to, iba yung discussion with the owner, iba yung discussion with the people, yung mga farm hands natin. So this is something you also have to learn when you're working in the farm. Then, sabi nga, once you've settled, if you say, okay, gusto ko na maging swine veterinarian, or paano ko ba i-develop yung myself further? Because, you know, as I said, yung university, what you learn there is just a start. No? Maganda lang base yan, magandang route yan, but you have to develop further. So ang pinamaganda na, every time you go into the field, no, you go work, you should always try to review yourselves, no, yung mga actions mo, decisions mo. Every time you go, yung mga recommendation, meron kang ginawang medication program, you have to go back and review or confer with your colleagues, no, on that one. Because sabi ko, sometimes there's going to be something better, or baka nagkamali ka, no? But this is something you have to check with other people. Kaya nga importante, you have to have parang a working group or associate with people with the same field, no? Either other vets, no? Maybe consultants, or even in the farm, no? Minsan you talk to the supervisors when you're giving recommendations. Try to get their idea on mag-work kaya to, no? Kasi you want to get buy-ins from your supervisor, farm managers. Even if alam mo yung sagot na dapat mag-work to, gawin nyo lang. But once you involve them, actually, they could help implement your programs. Have a role model, no? Try to see sino ba yung gusto yung sundan na mga veterinaryo sa industriya. And then try to come up with skills and, you know, dream that you can be a role model, but also try to become a better version of your role model. So parang maganda lang magkaroon ka ng target. If this is the best veterinary I've seen, and try to be better. Dito nakita mo, what else can I do? Maybe study more. And of course, review. I started with review, I ended with review, because you have to keep checking what you know and what you've done in the field. Okay? So, ano ba yung expectation when you graduate? Pag pumunta ka naman farm, ano ba yung expectations? First, of course, ang expectation, at least you should know the basic production parameters. Ano ba yung mga good paring rates? Ano ba gestation ng baboy? No, ano ba yung magandang ADG? Ano ba yung FCR? No, ano ba yung, nasan ba yung FCR ngayon? You can imagine, kung sinasagot ko ngayon, yung alam kong FCR noong 1988 na maganda, luging-lugi na farm ngayon, because there have been a lot of improvements in genetics and in feeding, that yung 3.5 dati na pag sinagot mo sa board tama, ngayon pag sinabi mo 3.5, lugi na yung farm. So you have to know your basic production parameters. You should also know what are the diseases present, which is, I hope, in vet school, tinuturo naman lahat yon. But ang maganda lang, when you graduate and you start working in the field, is take advantage of your youth and experience. Sabihin, alam nilang baguhan ka, alam nilang bagong graduate ka ng last year, and they know that you would have some inexperience, and you should not be expected to know everything. And ikaw din, you should be ready to admit that you don't know everything. You're more asking questions, just to build up your knowledge. So be brave, but so that you should not be afraid of making mistakes. No, welcome your mistakes. No, you don't make mistakes, but if that happens, you welcome them, because those are learning experiences. And again, at the end of each day, again, go back and review what you've done. Okay, so if you've decided to go and join the practice, the Philippine College of Swine Practitioners is actually a college that actually combines. We're a group of swine veterinarians who actually want to learn from each other and share experiences, challenge each other, and hopefully, we become better swine veterinarians. In the future, this is something we really have to do in all practices, because we're expecting to compete with other veterinarians in the region. In the future, yung tayo, pwede na tayo magtrabaho sa ibang Asian countries without passing their boards, but they would also be allowed to do that. So we have to make sure that we have to be abreast in what we know, in our skills, knowledge, and I think I believe joining the college, should be beneficial for you. So again, I hope that you consider joining the swine industry because we need you. Maraming kailangang veterinarians sa field, no? And there's a lot of opportunities in swine practice. So thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manabat, for being with us this morning. We'll see you again in a bit to respond to the questions during the open forum. For questions, comments, or reactions regarding our talks, you may send it to us through the Q&A tab below the main screen. You may also use the chat box to interact with our speakers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angel Manabat, for being with us this morning. We'll see you again in a bit to respond to the questions during the open forum. Again, students, let's give Dr. Manabat 1,000 hearts. Heart naman dyan. Yan. So more hearts. Yan. Okay, so again, for your questions and comment, reactions regarding the talk of Doc Angel, you may send it through the Q&A tab below the main screen. And you may also use the chat box to interact with our speakers directly. Wow, mukhang ang dami talagang heart, thousands talaga for swine practice. Yan, natuwa si Doc Angel. Salamat din po, Doc Angel. And for our last, but definitely not the least speaker this morning, a respected practitioner in the companion animal practice, we have here the Managing Director of the Animal House Group of Veterinary Hospitals, Dr. Edgardo B. Unson. Good morning and welcome to the program, Dr. Unson.
Good morning, magandang umaga, wherever you are, students, PVMA. Thank you for giving me this time to talk about my journey as a small animal practitioner, companion small animal. So I am Dr. Edgardo Unson. I graduated in 1985, long time ago. I'd like you to meet my friends as I talk about my journey as they call it a Dr. Kwak Kwak, Dr. Okidokidok. You know, it started out with that Okidokidok, but it's now a small animal veterinary practitioner is a respected member of the community. But it has taken a while before we were able to claim this as a respected member of the community. We have been maligned, we have been treated very bad in the community, and up to now, there's a lot of social bashing because of their pets dying. But this is a journey of the strong. This is a journey of those with dedication. Allow me to share. So these are my pets, and that's my pet on the right. I adopted her, and on the left these are my small clients. No? All of them wear t-shirts, and we were working with in the time of COVID. No? So these were times that we're still wearing masks. Okay. This is my journey. Again, I started in practice since 1986. On the left side, I was younger then. I still look a little the same probably. But beside me was Michael Cow. He was the valedictorian of our class, and we started the animal house. And we had a small blessing. That was his mom beside Michael. This is a fast forward of our journey in three photos. I was lucky enough to have some good education in UC Davis in 2013, the Department of Ophthalmology, and these are my mentors. And on the right is eventually practice in this was pre-COVID, so I had no mask. So it's a beautiful journey. Again, I will keep saying it's a journey of the strong, but it's a long journey where everybody, well, you need to give your heart. You have to unlearn, relearn, to learn. Okay. This is my team. This is the animal house. But we had this team building picture years ago. It's hard to get a group photo, but we are an establishment of 50 veterinarians. We have over 200 support staff. It's a big enterprise. Again, we're not, as veterinarians, we're not trained to handle organizations or management. We're trained to diagnose, to learn medical information. So it was a challenge to grow my establishment and eventually manage this to where it is today. Okay. So it's called the Animal House Veterinary Hospital, and since 1986. So we are 36 years in practice and going strong. And I'd love to be able to continue this to be the next leading small animal practice in the Philippines, and reliable in our community. No? So we have 11 clinics all over the city. So I see a lot of clinics now opening, and it's sometimes also a little alarming because there are too many. It's again about the quality. It's not just about the number, it's about the quality. So having 11 is something that I would not really encourage many, because it can be very draining. So we have, on the left is my Makati, that's in the Jupiter, the Bel Air office. It's a 24-hour operation. We have emergencies, we handle emergencies. So we handle birth and we handle death. There's a lot of joy and there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of happiness and there's a lot of crying because of pain of pets dying, and also because of pets being born. Pets going home, pets recovering, pets going down because they're not getting better, or pets being put to sleep. On the right is my surgery room. So we have upgraded our surgery room, and we've upgraded our surgery skills and equipment. So also this clinic is busy for 24 hours. We're doing a lot of surgeries. And my team, we have a very good team, continuously learning. These are my small team of we took this earlier this year. This is without the masks, and this was mainly for those who wanted to have their pictures taken, okay? It's a happy team. These are I'm very proud of them. They're young. Look at that, they were all young. They're battered, but they're smiling. Ito pagod yan, mga galing duty yan. But they're happy. You can see the smiles. You can see the joy. You can see the pets. They're also happy. So this is my team. I call them my family because we are together. We spend most of our working days, our working hours together with the team. We spend more time together than people at home. Okay. It's all about animals. Again, it's not about loving animals. You have to love cats. When I was growing up, I didn't grow up with cats, but when I discovered the cats, I love the cats. And learning about cats, they're a different creature. They're adorable creatures, and you have to learn their mindset. You know, you have to learn the mind of the cat. Birds too are different creatures. I love birds. They're different. You don't handle them like others. You know, they have their mind of their own. They're individual, and you have to learn how to be their friends and communicate with them. Okay. This is Mr. Chow Chow. You can see that E collar on top on his head, the Elizabethan collar. Well, there's a purpose for that, mainly because he snaps. You know, he doesn't like being held. So, but once you know them, once you love them, once they feel your love, they're very safe. So this is my assistant. Alan has been with me also for close to 15 years. And the pets love him because he communicates love to them. So it's very important, as all team members should communicate the love and show the love, because the pets can feel it. They can feel fear, they can feel anger, and they can feel love. Okay. So this is my daily world. No? Again, these are pets. It's not all about cuddly pictures where you can put on your Instagram. These are a bit graphic. No? So on the left side, this is a story of one of the most important stories in my life. Was in 2011, I was called to help this pet in Zamboanga City. And the snout flew off. So you can see it's very gory, but this was already after 6 months. So his mandible flew off. It was hit by a tricycle. And this is the story of Kabang. Kabang was owned by a very poor man. He lived by the street. And the news caught the story. Eventually, I was called because the local vets needed help. And this is a story about collaboration. So we collaborated with the local vets, and we collaborated with the regional vets, collaborated with the region, collaborated with international. To cut the story short, Kabang made her way to the United States and got medical treatment at the UC Davis. Very prestigious, and she got a lot of media attention. Unfortunately, she was not able to have her snout completely back, but we were able to repair her face. So she lived a good 13 years, and many in the US wanted to adopt her because she was such an adorable pet. Eventually, she came back here to Zamboanga and lived with her owner and lived under Dr. Anton Lim, Dr. Anton Lim, who is also a veterinarian alumni of UP. And he gave a fantastic care to Kabang. On my right is my best friend, Sam. So he's my golden retriever. I've had him for 15 years, from puppyhood and till his geriatric years. I had to put him on a wheelchair because his spine gave. I gave the best medical care I could give, 15 years. We did a lot of medical intervention. We did stem cell therapy. He got good years, and this was just before I unfortunately had to put him down. So part of the veterinary world is also putting down pets for the sake of their welfare. No? I didn't want him to suffer. So the hardest thing also is putting down your own pet. And I'm sure, and I don't want this to happen to any of you, but part of small animal practice is about putting down pets for their well-being. Small animal practice, again, is about learning, giving, treating to the local community. You have to give because the local community depends on you. As I mentioned, there's a lot of social media bashing because the pet died, and they go automatically to social media and say you're a dog killer, you're the worst killer, and they slaughter you in social media. But there's also recognition in the local community where pets, hundreds and thousands of pets, are very happy to you, happy for your service, and you get also international recognition like Kabang. This is when Kabang returned to the Philippines. She was a hero dog. She got the recognition in the US. She got the gold medals for being a hero. And again, from a natural, a mutt, mongrel, a mixed breed, Aspin, naging sikat yan, naging hero. And she won the hearts of so many people in the US, international community, and in the Philippines. And also, I volunteered and became very active in the World Small Animal Veterinary Association, or the WASAVA. And it's also part of giving back, no? And that's when the international community recognizes the care and the help that you give to not only to yourself, not only to your immediate vicinity, but to the international. It's nice when you get peer-reviewed, a pat on the back, recognized by your colleagues and given awards. Again, it's not about receiving awards. Receiving awards are just an extra. But when your colleagues and your peers give you awards of outstanding small animal practitioner, it means a lot. That means you've recognized you're doing something right. You're not here to destroy the profession, but you're here to uplift the profession and bring it to higher heights. So outstanding practitioner for the PVMA, for the VPAC, and for the Philippine Animal Hospital Association. So it's about giving back. So you can see a lot of colleagues have been recognized, and it's again, it's a plus point. Okay. Aside also from being a small animal practitioner, is also about teaching. Okay. You learn more when you teach, but you have to learn first, okay? And then you teach, because if not, you're teaching people wrong. So I had to learn. I had to go back to school. I had to learn. I had to go back and take a lot of education, move into specialization practices. I had to take an MBA to learn, and I started mentoring. Okay, these people, it's a special picture because these are people who have worked for me. They're not working for me anymore. There's maybe a couple who are still working for me here, but when you mentor people and give what you know and share, that is the start of learning and the start of giving. So I'm sure your teachers here have also mentored you properly, but in life, it's always good to have a good mentor. Again, follow your mentors, because that's the key to your success, so that you can eventually also mentor others. I mentioned about continuous learning. No? Continuous learning, you need to learn. You need to unlearn, you need to learn, and you need to relearn. Okay, because what you learned in school will not be the same after 2 years, after 5 years. More so me, after how many years I had to learn. We had no concept of veterinary dentistry, so we got a mentor, Dr. James Anthony. He's the grandfather of dentistry in the world, and we were lucky enough to have him come and teach those who were very interested in starting dental practices in their practice. No? So he thought that we were 30 and we're down to 11. We're taking board exams. We're doing a lot of training so that we can be specialists in the Philippines. And these are hands-on, and these are also 3 to 4 years of learning plus case studies and papers, published papers. Okay. I'd just like to end I mentioned about the small animal. Small animal is a journey with animals who can't talk. They can't speak, but they can hear you, they can feel you. And that's what you can give to them, because you can be the most intelligent or the most handsome or most beautiful, but you're not there to connect with the pets. You're lacking something. So as Helen Keller, she was blind, she said that the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. Again, Helen Keller was blind, but they must be felt with the heart. And that sums up my journey with small animal practice. It's all about the heart. Again, I mentioned about the journey of the strong, because small animal practice has burnout. There's a big burnout. You get very tired. You can get very emotional because your pets die, or even your own pet die. You can get battered because of the pet parent getting very upset with you. But there's a lot of compassion that you need to nurture and grow. And you have to keep that flame alive, because that's what will keep you alive in small animal practice. So again, it's the heart that's been given to you, the heart that we will nurture, and the heart that pets will make make your heart grow even bigger. So again, to all future small animal practitioners, maybe this is a peak of my journey, and I hope this will inspire you to, or maybe think of this is what I'd like to be in the future, small animal practitioner. Again, 36 years, I would not have had it otherwise. This is the journey I chose, and the journey I love, and a journey I would continue to choose and to inspire others. Thank you again, fellow students and the PVMA, for allowing this. May your journey be fruitful, and may your heart grow fonder.
Thank you very much, Doc Ed Unson, for such an interesting presentation you gave us this morning. So I know you students are all excited to talk to our presenters directly this morning. So without further ado, let me welcome back to the spotlight our speakers. Yan. Did you know po that we have 18 schools dito sa platform ngayon? 18 schools po, and we are more than 1,000. So we weren't able to accommodate the rest. So 1,000. Palakpak naman tayo dyan, mga students. So palitan niyo yung heart. Clap naman. Yan. So we cannot see you, but at least we can feel you sa mga hearts na pinadadala nyo at sa mga clubs. Yan. So lahat po sila masaya. So ngayon, kayo naman po ang hindi magiging masaya dahil napakarami pong tanong para po sa inyo. So during our last campus tour, inulan ng tanong ang military service si Doc Marjorie. But this time, ang simula po natin ay for Doc Angel. For PCSP. Does the PCSP have any plans or solution on how to address the issues on rising pork prices and shortages? Doc Angel.
Wow! Ang bigat na
Ayan,
tanong.
Ang ganda ng simula, di ba? Parang hindi estudyante yung nagtanong. Parang taga
Well, actually, but that's a good question, no? Kasi nga, like I've said, malaki nawala sa atin na population. And basically, what we're targeting is really the education or the sharing of information sa farmers, no? Because we want them to come back. No, marami kasi napaso sa pag-aalaga because of ASF, no? And there are ways to actually still be profitable even with a country with ASF. So ang target po natin is basically share, teach, no? Punta kami sa lahat ng mga farm, no, na makikinig, no? We're just hoping that they listen. Yun ang main target natin is actually to uplift the way that we raise pigs in the Philippines. So I guess that would be the basic target natin, no, to share. And that's why kung 1,000 nakikinig dito na vets, no, if you can actually share biosecurity principles or how to keep out ASF, that would really help the industry.
Ayan. So I hope Doc Angel was able to answer directly yung questions ng nagtanong dito. Hindi ko lang nakuha yung pangalan. Okay, so next question goes to Dr. Sheng. Dr. Sheng, what are your inspirations for achieving your goals? The goals I think that you have projected on screen kanina.
Parang masyadong yung tanong. Touching
Napaka-broad.
sagot dito.
Napaka-broad ng kanya.
Bibigat ng tanong ngayon.
Pero bibigat nga eh. Palagi ko yung mga din na nagtatanong dito, mga deans, kayo po ba nagtatanong, mga estudyante?
Actually, according to people I work with, lalo ngayon dito closely sa BAI, hindi ko na-appreciate, syempre that's me eh, but I am a very passionate person daw kasi. So, kung ano yung na hindi ako yung halfway, palagi ako with yung full energy. Kasi actually one reason I was urged to transfer from the private practice to the government service is actually because gusto kong i-advance si veterinary profession. I saw how companion animal practitioners were actually treated before, and how veterinarians are sometimes frowned upon. So I remember yung isang Grey's Anatomy na tinanong, is he even a doctor? So inis na inis actually ako dun sa episode na yon nung sinabi yun nung isang character dun sa show. Kasi hindi ako naniniwala na ganun dapat yung treatment sa veterinarians. So I wanted actually na tulungan si profession na mai-advance siya, na ma-earn niya yung respect na deserve niya, which is why nag-transfer ako sa government. Siguro nga.
So more of advocacy, Doc Cheng, di po ba?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yung
more
belief,
of advocacy.
yes.
So she was inspired by yung advocacy niya to help uplift the veterinary profession. Yun. Ang lawak kasi ng kanyang tanong. Okay. So eto naman, I think this is for Doc Gigi. So how could student veterinarians find opportunities to get hands-on experience on different fields in vet med, like farm animal practice? Sa curriculum, palagay ko to, Doc G.
Yes, that's right. Kasi dun sa curriculum naman, we have the students have the opportunity to be exposed in the different types of practice. No, dun sa rotation nila during the clinical internship, and actually even before they reach their senior years. I don't know with some of the programs, but we have dun sa animal production aspect, no, on their third year, I think, or fourth year, they have their field practice wherein they got exposed to different farms already, no, sa farms pa lang yon. So hindi pa yun yung actually doon sa clinical practice, but they get exposed to the production system. So when they get to the final year, that is when they have the opportunity to rotate to the different practice. However, on their own, no, actually those who are interested in different types of practice, they really initiate, no, to coordinate with the different, let's say mga zoos ganyan, and then they volunteer. So it's really with the initiative of the students on which practice.
Okay, thank you, Doc Chi. So, hindi hadlang ang pandemic, di po ba, Doc Chi? So, they can, on their own, they can find a way para makapag-practice sila. Okay, so this time, balik na naman po tayo sa military. Last time, military service, lagi ang tanong. Doc Marjorie, ang tanong po, after po ng VetMed, kumuha pa po ba kayo ng further studies sa military?
Yes, good morning. Lahat ng pumapasok sa military are required to take pre-entry and career courses. So, aside from the education from yung Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, veterinarians are required to take courses composed of military training and professional subjects. Combination yon. Ganun lagi ang tema ng schooling nila. And as they go along their career, iba-ibang klaseng courses yon na katapat ng kanilang responsibilities na iti-take. So may training pa rin, military. Siyempre, tuturuan kang humawak ng barel, paano ka tumakbo sa kalaban. Tumakbo palayo, parang. Joke lang.
Pati paghawak ng barel, no, Doc Marjorie?
Yeah.
Actually, may kasunod pa yun. Ito na naman to. Inulit na naman yung tanong. May height requirement po ba sa VetCorp?
Yeah, the height requirement is 5 feet flat. Pero there are so many instances na mas mababa sa 5 feet, we can request for height waiver. Kasi ma-justify naman natin, yeah, because skilled ang veterinary officers.
Ito naman, may other question. So I think everybody can answer. So anyone can answer this one. So is it possible for vets to be specialized practitioner of more than one field? For example, being a professional practitioner in the field of poultry, Doc Aga, or farm animals, and at the same time, being a professional practitioner in the field of companion animal, kay Doc Unson. So, possible daw po ba yun? Ang hirap, no? Pero, ang thinking ko dito, pwede siyang magsimula siguro sa poultry, tapos magtapos siya ng small animal. So, anong tingin mo, Doc, Doc Aga muna, tapos punta tayo kay Doc Unson.
Yeah, good morning. Palagay ko pwede naman, kanya lang it will divide your time sa clients mo. It takes a lot of determination, I think. It can be possible, but I'd rather choose one field muna.
Para yung merong quotation dyan eh. Pero tingnan muna natin yung sagot ni Doc Unson. Doc Unson?
Yeah, I agree also with that, no? Though we're trained in vet school that we learn all the species, so we tend to think that we are capable of treating all. But when it comes to companion small animal, napakahirap po yan. It's a very specialized field. So it's not only about vaccinating, it's about treatment, and you're also faced with the clientele today. Masyadong knowledgeable, they're very responsible, they're very concerned. So the vet now is anak na po yan. So if you have somebody, a veterinarian who is busy in the field and then sideline make clinic siya but he's not there or she's not there, it'll be a problem. And I don't think you'll be happy. So I will recommend maybe if you want to do 2 practices, I think maybe in this you'll have to spend a lot of time in studies, and also you have to dedicate a lot of time because it's especially companion animal, it's not the same like before. So I would really think about having multi-practice of companion plus another field, because it's very time and emotional investment.
Para siyang jack of all trade, master of none, kalalabas. Actually, the main reason why we're having this virtual campus tour and sharing with you our experts was because para malaman ninyo this early kung ano ba talaga, kung nasaan ba yung puso ninyo, saan kayo, anong path ang titingnan ninyo sa practice. Tama po ba? So, I think meron din naman pwedeng pagsabayin like yung halimbawa, nasa companion, pero may research. Nasa farm, merong research. Tama po ba, Doc Ida?
Para sa akin, mahirap yung research sa laboratory animals isabay sa ibang specializations kasi medyo hindi dito sa Philippines hindi pa ganun ka-develop yung laboratory animal medicine. Yung pag-treat at pag-handle ng mga mice, rats, guinea pigs, medyo bago for a lot of us. Kaya para sa akin, i-specialize muna dun sa lab animals. Gusto mo talaga sa research on lab animals. Although at times, nakakakuha kami ng dogs, mga beagle dogs, but this is not usual. Lalo na ngayon kasi mahal ang beagle dogs. Most research, tsaka parang pinofrown at ng karamihan ng tao ang research using dogs or other companion animals. Kasi nga ang ngayon for lab animal medicine, yung gamitin yung animals na mas inaakalang less sentient or less number of animals.
So, kailangan may focus muna. Okay, mag-focus muna sa isang field of practice. So, itong question na to, ito pero parang hindi siya appropriate para dito kasi they were asking how much po starting salary ng licensed vet in every field of practice. So it means that each of you have to respond on this one. I think among you all, Doc Gigi was the one who gave yung bracket, di po ba, Doc Gigi? Nagbigay kayo ng bracket as to how much yung salary pa nag-start ka, pagka nasa middle ka na ng career mo, hanggang sa mag-peak ka. So, I just don't know sa other field of practices. So let's start with Doc Ida, kung sino yung nauna sa screen. Range na lang, Doc. Medyo mahirap kasi itong tanong ng mga estudyante.
I really don't know kasi nag-start ako 1981. Nag-start ako. Ang sweldo ko less than 2,000 to be honest.
Allowance na lang ng estudyante.
Pero kasi sa Unilab at the time, maraming perks. Nung nagtanong ako, bakit ganito lang?
Maraming plus-plus.
Nilabasan ako ng mga plus-plus. Yung kung ilan yung bonuses, ilan yung hospitalization and others. Kaya siguro depende sa institution. But nung nag-retire ako, medyo mataas naman. Inaano nila na supposedly it is higher than the average sa industry. Kaya
to avoid
mas mataas. Nag-ano sila, survey din sila kung magkano yung sweldo, salary sa competitors. Tapos, they see to it na medyo itataas ng konti sa average. Yun lang masasabi ko for layo kasi nung 2000, nung nag-start ako sa ngayon.
So, siguro pinaka-safe na po sagot, magbigay na lang po tayo kung 5 digits siya or 6 digits siya para at least meron silang tinitingnan. Matagal pa naman sila gagraduates eh.
Abot po naman ng 6 digits.
Yan.
Abot
sa
ng 6
poultry
digits.
po, Doc Aga.
Mahirap ang hirap nung tanong, baka lalong di ako makarecruit nito.
By the way, students, Doc Aga is looking for for veterinarians sa kanilang company.
Masyado
5 digits or 6 digits na lang, Doc Aga, kasi medyo mahirap sagutin to. Baka mamaya hanapan tayo.
Medyo mahirap eh. And it differs also from one company to the other. Kung malaki siya, expect a higher salary. Depende rin sa position na makukuha mo. So, medyo mahirap talaga. Mahirap sagutin.
Doc Marjorie.
Sa military, mas madaling sagutin kasi our salary is nakapeg sa rango nung officer. So, anywhere as you enter probationary second lieutenant ka, mag-start yan sa 25 plus. And as you go along, as you get promoted, increase din yung sweldo mo. Ang colonel, ang pinakamataas kasi sa vet officer is colonel. Siguro ang colonel nasa 80,000 something base pay. Ganon, malaki na siya.
Kay Doc Gigi, nakasulat na, no, Doc Gigi? Walang may tatago.
Oh, para makaengganyo ako, no?
Para dumami yung nasa education, Doc Gigi? Kasi based sa recent ng PVMA, medyo mababa pa yung from education. Marami pa rin yung sa small animal Doc Unson, ano po ba ang masasabi natin?
Yan ang pinakamahirap na tanong at sagot. Well, it's always been a struggle of getting veterinarians to work in companion small animal. Versus establishments, organizations that have a pegged salary, no? So like Dr. Ida, at my time, I was only 4 digits. I was a little more, 3,000 a month. No? Kaya mo isang kain lang yan. But right now, so it can range from 5 digits. Eventually, you can earn more, no? But I always encourage with companion animal, it's look at the human counterpart. When you graduate from med school, salary kaagad bang iniisip nyo? Or what hospital do you want to join? Or what field of specialization do you want to go in? Because as long as you follow that dream, aabot yung sweldo dyan. The salary will follow. So try not to be focused on salaries, anong starting nyo, or anong starting ng ibang clinic. Look at what is follow the mentors, follow the organizations, follow the hospital. What are they offering? Because you're looking at long term. Yung starting, madali lang yan. It's a medical field. Yung mga start ng mga residente, when they start, they're only learning 12,000, 15,000, basic lang na. Kung sa veterinarian, ang liit naman. Ayaw nila yan. So this companion animal tends to keep raising their prices higher and higher. Hindi naman kaya ng practice. So you look at sustainability of the practice. Kaya ba ng practice? Baka maisara yung clinic na yan. Kasi you're not, the salaries are too high and people just leave because of salary. So again, with companion animal, it's such a broad answer. We're not pegged on a position based on government positions or multinationals, no? It's based on small clinics and maybe some hospitals that are getting bigger. So again, follow the mentors and follow what is offered and what you want to be versus focus on what is your starting.
Yeah, tama. Agree ako dyan, Doc Ed. Okay, Doc Sheng. And then siguro, wag na natin siya masyadong pahabain, Doc Sheng and Doc Angel, para lang masagot lang sila. Kasi parang ito yung recurring question last session, meron din siya.
Ako ay started here sa BAI as contract of service, so Vet 2. Salary grade, i-google nyo na lang. So salary grade 16 ako nag-start.
Tama yan, may assignment sila,
Salary
Doc.
grade 16. So I was promoted Vet 3. Hanapin nyo na lang din yung salary grade ng Vet 3.
Yan, Doc Angel.
Sa swine kasi nga, it's same with the others. No? It depends on where you join, whether you join to get experience. So, minsan kasi when you go to the farm, talagang you expect some farms not to be able to pay young vets very high. No? But usually when you get the experience and when you start contributing to the cost to produce, reducing cost to produce, yung ganyan, then usually the owners would start paying you based on what you're actually given to the corporation, to the farm. No? And the same thing with sa mga pharmaceuticals or also swine vets. No? Doon medyo maganda yung starting. But ako, ang advice ko lang lagi is if you can get that experience first sa farm, it will make your life easier when you talk to farm owners. Kung ikaw ay mismo nakapagtrabaho sa farm, because it will be easier for you to convince them kung meron ka talagang hands-on experience on taking care of pigs or on moving on productions. No? So yun. So in terms of sweldo, okay naman makakuha. Ang end niya, minsan maganda Katulad sa amin, if you get chances to go abroad and go back, no, then you get more experience. Then medyo mas maganda yung bigay.
So importante pa rin talaga, dapat meron kayong skills, ma-establish nyo yung marketability nyo, market value nyo, and tsaka na kayo magpresyo pagka kompleto na ang experience ninyo and you can offer your service. May value ka nang dala. may good service ka na mapoprovide sa mga clients mo. Okay, so next question is, this time is for Doc Unson. Any tips or advice in dealing with your mental health as a small animal practitioner, especially during this age wherein shaming online is normalized?
Yeah. Again, mental wellness has become a valid and a concern in the veterinary field in the past maybe 10 years. Dati walang wellness yan, walang aral-aral. But I know, I mean, it's something that has to be talked about burnout, about depression. You know, I think it's also in this day and age of social media that, you know, we're all focused on ourselves. But how do you take care in the practice of mental wellness is, again, see to it that it is, don't take things too seriously, always. Enjoy it, smile. Those are one. Number two, take care of yourself, you know. Do things like exercise, sleep, get good rest. Don't be too focused on social media, you know, enough of that time always on Instagram. Yan, nakakalungkot yan. You're focusing on your likes, on all the pag-dislike, ayaw yan, you get depressed. Okay. Surround yourself with positive people. Because pag toxic lagi, reklamo, you know, you're dealing already with people who are complaining. Go with people who will uplift you and who will encourage you. Number two, I think also talk to your colleagues or even your supervisor about, I'm going through a hard time right now. How can you help me? You know, because again, opening up and identifying that you have a problem is very important. Instead of keeping it to yourself, and then you just get down and let depression and sadness eat your heart. No.
Yeah.
Again,
and eat you.
Reach out. It's the key thing is reach out, because we're here to help you. The industry is here to help you, and it's a lonely journey. It can be, but reach out. The colleagues are here, and take care of yourself. That's the most important.
Thank you, Doc Unson. So this question now goes to Doc Aga. As a poultry practitioner, what do you think about cockfighting in the Philippines?
Another hard question. Cockfighting. Well, it's something that it has become part of our culture, especially the politicians. But sa animal welfare, nandiyan si Doc Sheng, I think we've been trying hard to fight, have that abolished, pero it's like babangga ka ng pader eh. Ang Doc Sheng, paano ba yan? Personally, I don't like cockfighting. That's why in my practice, I'm in the food sector. That's my personal opinion. I don't like cockfighting. At sana ma-abolish na Doc Sheng. Ano.
Yeah, thank you for your answer, Dr. Aga. So, ito naman para kay Doc Gigi. Do we have a specialization college in the Philippines that has a board certification?
I think it is still on process, no, right now wala pa, no. Actually, part ng PVMA na yon, na we are this professional qualification
college.
Yeah, it's still on process, so wala pa sa ngayon.
Okay, so itong question I think open sa lahat. As a student, can we conduct our internship, externship? Kay Doc kay Doc Marjorie and kay Doc Sheng. Can we conduct our internship or externship on VetCorp or other government agencies? Doc Marjorie.
With the VetCorp, medyo it will be a long process kasi hindi lahat ng gustong pumasok sa kampo makakapasok basta-basta. But the process involves yung magre-request tayo for the proper security clearance, and as pag nag-grant na ito, as soon as mag-grant, pwede namang mag-OJT doon yung mga clinicians as long as i-credit ng school yung kanilang training hours doon. Yun lang. The security aspect lang is medyo masalimuot. But it can be done.
Doc Marjorie, meron nga tanong dito, if may namatay na po bang veterinaryo sa AFP
Because
during yung service, during
in line of duty.
Wala
naman because napasabak sa gera. Wala naman, fortunately. Ang mga nawala na ay mga nagkasakit, mga nag-retire, yun naman. Pero yung casualty of war, wala pa naman.
So how about sa government service, Doc Sheng?
I think
Pwede daw ba mag-intern or mag-internship?
actually marami po kaming nare-receive na inquiries regarding internship. Kaya lang, since dumating ako dito sa bureau during the pandemic, we are not allowing internships. Limited din naman ang personnel na pumapasok nung time na yon. Recently, actually just this morning, may nagtanong kung pwede nga daw bang mag-intern dito sa amin sa office. I think possible naman siya. Kaya lang, iniisip ko, since napakadami naming functions dito sa BAI, baka ma-surprise sila dun sa madadatnan nilang practice or madadatnan nila na kung ano yung situation dito. Kasi since it's a national government agency, yung scope of work, yung duties and responsibilities medyo madami, saka medyo mabigat. So if they would like to have a taste of the government service, pwede siguro, pero i-specify nila kung saang division, probably, like gusto ba nilang ma-experience yung work sa ports of entry natin sa Pilipinas, sa NAIA, or dito sa central office, para sa Animal Health and Welfare Division, sa division namin, or sa laboratory, sa feeds, yung mga ganyan. Siguro kung sakali lang ay alamin niya if ever specifically kung ano yung
Kung saan?
iniisip niya,
department?
kung sa aling part ng government service yung gusto niyang tikman, ganyan.
Yan, masubukan. Oo. Okay, thank you very much, Doc Sheng. So I think this is, we have a lot of questions actually, but for those questions na we will not be able to answer, please feel free to send it to us and we will try our very best to get back to you kasi hindi natin siya kayang sagutin lahat dito sa may platform. So, itong isa, any advice to those who would like to go into rural practice, giving back service to the community where one specific practice cannot sustain the practice given the animal population in the community being serviced? Medyo magulo yung question. So, any advice daw to those who would do community service or going back to rural practice?
Sa field kasi actually ito yung mga ano natin sa PCMBLP, no, ito yung mga nasa LGUs, no, and I'm sure they would be welcoming young vets, no, to join them. Talagang ang kailangan talaga natin is basically to be as a organization convince LGUs na kailangan talaga ng mga provincial vets and municipal vets, no, because not all of them would have. So I guess sa ating level naman is trying to parang convince them na mag-hire kayo ng mga vets, but marami talagang kailangan. A lot of farms have not been reached by veterinarians and are relying on kung sino nandun sa mga nagtitinda ng gamot. So I think we can always, if you're not going to mind na baka minsan bayad sa'yo 2 dosenang itlog, okay, ganyan, then it's possible to help the farmers. So.
Isang bayong na gulay ang bayad na Doc Angel. Nasubukan na nakatanggap na ako ng ganyan. Doc Aga. More of sa poultry and swine to, I think. Kasi meron siyang dito yung kanyang pahabol ay kung kulang ang population ng animal doon sa field na practice na gusto niya doon sa gagawin niyang rural service. So, kung wala, so ano daw yung magiging advice? Tingin ko, siya so he or she cannot go back to rural service na wala naman doon yung passion niya. Wala naman doon yung, kung ang hinahanap niya, for example, maybe companion animal, tapos pupunta siya sa area na wala namang ganong practice. Kung nasa bulubundukin ka, Doc Aga, di po ba? May mga farms doon, tsaka mga swine farms. Pero wala po siguro mga clinics.
Yeah, sa poultry, mahirap
sa
siguro.
poultry.
Maybe hindi fair link to the government, sabi ni Doc Angel, pwede sila doon. Pero yung private practice, tapos sa rural area, depende siguro sa priorities niya, kung part na experience yun. But as a decent means of livelihood later on, medyo mahirap. medyo mahirap. Ilan lang yan, mga backyard, tapos karamihan mga game fowls, then some other siguro.
Yan, totoo ka dyan, Doc Aga. Actually, my attention is already being called because we're already out of time na. Wala na po tayong oras. So okay. So again, maraming salamat po, dear doctors. Ladies and gentlemen, our pillars in the different practices, Dr. Ida, Doc Aga, Doc Marjorie, Doc Gigi, Doc Unson, Doc Sheng, Doc Angel, and wala lang po dito si Doc Raildrin because of yung prior commitments po niya. So with all the distinguished speakers that we had this morning, no one will be going home empty-handed, especially with all the new knowledge and learnings we have earned in this PVMA virtual campus tour. But we want to give you a little extra. So we will be giving away this time 20 back-to-school bags po ulit. PVMA back-to-school bags. And here are the set of winners. Ayan. So, hindi ko na po babasahin isa-isa ang pangalan nila. So, meron po tayong 2 sets dito. So, this is the first 10 set of winners. So, congratulations to you all. Thank you very much for attending this virtual conference. Ayan, yung next set po natin, ayan na po. Ayan, thank you students for this very engaging, of course. Thank you doctors again for eagerly responding to all their questions. So at this moment, the PVMA would like to express its sincerest gratitude to our speakers of the 2022 PVMA Virtual Campus Tour. So PVMA presents a certificate of appreciation to Dr. Venturina for sharing her expertise and journey as practitioners to the future veterinarians during the 2022 Virtual Campus Tour with the theme Unravelling the Opportunities in Different Fields of Practice in the Veterinary Profession, held September 8 and 15, 2022. Thank you very much, Dr. Venturina. Then another certificate of appreciation is given to Dr. Shella Marie Ordinario for sharing her expertise and journey as practitioners to the future veterinarians during the 2022 Virtual Campus Tour with the theme Unravelling the Opportunities in Different Field of Practices in the Veterinary Profession, held September 8 and 15, 2022. Signed by myself and our PVMA President, Dr. Bernard Baisi. Also, certificate for Dr. Raildrin Morales for sharing his expertise. Dr. Marjorie Filoteo, Dr. Luida Cruz, Dr. Edgardo Unson, Dr. Angel Manabat, and Dr. Agapito Mercado.
Thank you.
Again, thank you very, very much again sa inyo pong walang sawang suporta for PVMA.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Thank you.
Ayan.
Thank you again.
Okay. So, hindi pa po tayo magtatapos. We'll keep connected and we will contact you po after this session. Okay. Again, congratulations to all and meron pa po tayo we have nawala na po ang Dean ng Tarlac. Again, maraming salamat po. Thank you very much to all the deans present in this platform. Kila Dr. Hanilet Che Nicolas, Chairperson ng DBM Program, Bulacan State College of Agriculture. Dr. Leia A. Ingala, Dean Capiz State University. Dr. Maria Cynthia R. de la Cruz, Dean ng Cavite State University. Dr. Serafin Garciano Jr., Dean ng Cebu Technological University. Dr. Noreen P. Medina, Dean of Central Luzon State University. Dr. Fe M. Kamalig, Dean of Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University. Dr. Rachel P. Go, represented by Dr. Alilin, Dean of Southwestern University, Dr. Jessie A. Acorda, Dean, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Dr. Santiago T. Peña, Dean of Visayas State University, and Dr. Elizabeth C. Molina, Dean of University of Southern Mindanao. So may mga pangalan po akong baka hindi po nabanggit. Again, maraming salamat po to all the students, faculty of all the universities in this platform. So for all those who weren't able to join us in this virtual campus tour, we will be posting a link of this or the video of this presentation sa YouTube and sa PVMA FB page. Again, maraming salamat po. Wishing you a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much po. Sa uulitin.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Flor.
Bye. Have a
Thank
great
you.
lunch. Thank you, Doc Ed. Thank you po sa lahat.
Thank you, Doc Flor.
Thank you po.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Doc
Doc
Aga. Thank you,
Flor.
Angel.
Flor.
Doc Ida.
Thank you,
So,
Dr.
we will get to know in the next PVMA convention ilan na po ang mas ang a-attend. From research, from swine, from poultry, from companion animal, and the likes. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc Flor. Bye.
Thank you po. Bye. May greetings pa po. Andito pa pala si Dean. Baka pwede pa nating isama. Pwede pa siyang ipa-live?
Gusto po.
Pasingit siya? Pwede pa ba? Baka may message pa siya.
Nag-leave na po siya.
Nag-leave na? Kasi kanina nagtanong ako, sabi wala na. Nagmamadali daw.
All right. Doctor, congratulations again.
Direct ko ba yan?
Yes, direct. Oo, we're just waiting na malis na yung mga participants.
Mm-mm. Hindi naman nila tayo narinig direct ano.
Ngayon, baka naririnig pa. Pero nagko-congrats na ako. Kasi baka umalis ka na naman sa silya eh.
Hindi to, direct this time nawawala yung
Yeah, oo. Anyway,
napuputol ako. I don't know kung bakit. May
Oo.
mga friend kasi kami dito eh. Tuwan-tuwa siguro sa akin.
anyway, we tried our best na masalo lahat.
Oo. Pati nga yung direct eh, mag-off na sana ako. Nauna yung raffle doon sa sa mga certificate ng speakers.
Panelists.
Oo. Ng speakers kasi inabot ko na sana napuputol na yung ko.
Yeah, oo.
Parang
yeah.
naglalal siya.
Nag-worry nga kami.
Nung naglalal na siya, tumalon ako doon sa para lang yung ng mga prizes
Yes.
bago maputol. Tapos bumalik na lang ako nung sabi ko mukhang stable na. Balik ako ulit sa taas.
So kay Doc Flor, na-manage naman natin.
Oo, ang galing nyo. Nambak up pa agad ng mabilis.
Talagang ganyan eh. Glitches will always be there.
Ayun, nahiya lang ako doon sa Maydin. Kasi kanina nagtanong ako kung magla-live pa. Pero nung sabi umalis,
Yes,
nagmamadali daw. Tapos biglang last minute bumalik. Wala naman ng time. Tapos na. Diba,
Maybe
naka-on cam.
ma-message na lang si Dean, Doc.
Siguro tawagan ko na lang siya personally.
Yes.
Kasi para hingin ko kay Ate Lolit yung number niya.
Oo, lang talaga yung glitches natin. Connectivity.
May mga technical issues. Pero hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin sa kanila may technical issues kasi sila nakikinig lang. They will not understand. So we have to absorb everything. Ay, tapos na. Next week maluwag na ako. Ang Thursday ko. Sumabay pa yung converge namin dito sa lab.
Yun na nga, yun ang wino-worry namin the whole time eh.
Oo, sabi ko pa man din, di ba? Nagka-problema na si Converge last, So, hindi na siguro sila magkakaproblema this time around. Hindi naman pwede ka kung twice a month sila magkakaroon ng ng maintenance. Di ba kasasabi ko lang, kaka-maintenance lang nila. Tapos this morning, meron na naman. Wala na naman silang connection.
Direct GM, ilan pa nasa room?
120 pa eh.
Madami pa rin. Well, at least, like what I said, Doc Flor, na-manage naman. And congrats again.
Oo, congratulations din. Pakuha ako ng mga questions, ha?
Yes, Doc.
Para
natin, ma-forward, masagot pa rin.
Oo. Para masagot lahat ng questions. Ang gagawin namin, try our best na lang to respond sa email ng mga deans.